Today, we're going to be doing a deep dive into a tool that I feel is here to take over the game, but is missing the critical pieces to do so. And this is one of the reasons why one tool does not fill all the use case. Today, we're going to be talking about Cursor. We're going to do a deep dive and we're going to focus on the good, the bad, and the ugly, as in all other of my video reviews. Unlike the other tools that I've reviewed so far, this is the first IDE, integrated development environment tool. So a little bit more technical, a little bit bigger and robust. I already know we're going to disagree on this one, but that's the whole point of doing these in the first place. This is why I do the video reviews. This is why all of my opinions are deemed as subjective. But today we're going to be doing a deep dive into a tool that I feel is here to take over the game, but is missing the critical pieces to do so. And this is one of the reasons why one tool does not fill all the use case. Today, we're going to be talking about Cursor. We're going to do a deep dive and we're going to focus on the good, the bad, and the ugly, as in all other of my video reviews. All right. So before we kick things off on Cursor, I want to take an opportunity to introduce myself. If you've never watched any of my videos before, LJ, I'm a VP at a startup company. I am in the process of building 50 apps in 50 weeks using only AI. And I'm currently working on projects number 16 and 17. Kind of got stuck there a little bit for a while now. But I want to say that during the building of 15, the first 15 of them, I had some success by winning multiple top 5 products of the award for the week column level launched. And in this process, I've also beta tested over 10 AI coding tools, and together with Starter Story, built a AI bootcamp, which so far had over 400 students attending, many of whom launched amazing applications. And speaking of applications, in the process of reviewing those that we would be using to build these AI tools, there's a couple of rules to be followed. 10 different categories, grades 1 to 5. We're going to be talking about anything from the product UI UX, the first shot prompt results, code ownership, visual edits, ease of deployment, pricing, support for newcomers, and more. Overall, I'm trying to create tools that are the most dominating one in the AI coding industry so far. 4 of them were reviewed. Here are the current scores. Here's the current leaderboard. Replit takes number 1 in my book for now. Bolt, second place, 36 points, and Lovable currently on number 3, along with V0, although I gave Lovable an advantage with like a bit of a plus because of their latest efforts in listening to user feedback, fixing bugs, and really taking a bit of a step back after a bit of a I want to say mishap there with the 2.0 launch. Now, as I said earlier, aside from the fact that this is a very subjective review of Cursor and all the other tools, I just want to make a couple more disclaimers. Number 1, I'm not a developer. Number 2, I have no idea what I'm doing. Number 3, none of the companies paid me to do so. And then the last one, definitely encourage you to test these tools by yourself as well and determine whether you agree or disagree with me on any of this, right? Let's talk about Cursor today, right? That is the tool. That is the thing we will be taking a deep dive into. Unlike the other tools that I've reviewed so far, this is the first IDE, integrated development environment tool. So a little bit more technical, a little bit bigger and robust, rather than just a vibe coding tool where you only speak in English, rarely see the code. Cursor is a little bit in a different league of its own. Core team based out of San Francisco, when they just raised $900 million at $9 billion valuation. This was very recent, somewhere around beginning of May. So, I mean, just crazy amount of money at this point, right? This is also the first tool that I'm going to be covering that has almost like pretty much native support for MCPs, which I think is amazing. Just the fact that like you can use all of these other third-party tools and pull them into Cursor and just use them to the best extent. This is more powerful than just having an API because MCP allows you to talk to these tools directly and basically tweak the use case and build different functionalities. And, I've actually played around with Supabase MCP and Magic MCP from First Dev, and my experience so far has been pretty amazing. I want to say Cursor is also super advanced because of the fact that they allow you to choose many or all the leading LLMs. Like, so you know exactly what you're going to be using for coding, for chatting. Like, that is very unique compared to the other apps that I've showcased to you earlier as well. And they're on a brink of launching the zero point 0.5 version of Cursor, which will have a lot of great applications, including like this max mode thing, the fact that they will have a background agent working in the background, including your entire code base into context to talk to your entire code, faster edits, exporting your chats as markdown files so that you can reference them, duplicating them, like a lot of stuff, right? That are just going to even further change the game for Cursor as a company. Before we move on to the scoreboard, if you want to learn how to vibe code and use vibe coding tools as a whole, I definitely want to do a shameless plug of the AI bootcamp that I do right now with Starter Story. So right now we have a bootcamp that covers Lullable, but we're in the process, I can say that for the first time officially, of building a bootcamp for Cursor, right? So some of the things that I'm going to show you today, that is the stuff that we're going to be covering on that as well. But for now, you can join this bootcamp if you've never built anything. I don't think Cursor is the right tool to get started, and I'm going to show you why. I do think that this is the right course for you because we're going to teach you everything about how to come up with ideas, properly set them up, how to build a solid plan, not just to vibe yourself into a wall, but actually build something meaningful and useful. And then obviously you're going to run into problems doing so, but we devote a total of 2 days talking just about debugging, and then another 2 days just about designing and polishing it so that it looks nice. So that it works and looks nice, then it's ready to go live. We're going to talk about authentication, email, SEO for your project, and I'm going to touch a little bit on the marketing of it, like where to share, how to get your first beta testers, how to get those first users, and very importantly, 2 things that we added. You're going to get a certificate of completion for the course, and number 2, I think this is a great opportunity to use professional development budget. Like, make sure to ask your boss if they would fund this 12-day app bootcamp for you so that you can learn how to build apps for your company, where instead you're actually building apps for yourself. But nevertheless, company can basically fund your way out of there as well. So yeah, that's the part of the shameless plug. And now we're going to just move on to the scoreboard. And as you can see, this was super colorful, right? Cursor is a tool of extremes in my book. There are things where it's extremely good and things that it's extremely bad for, right? And let's talk about the good stuff first, right? Code ownership, the agent, support for backend and APIs, and deployment. But Cursor gives you everything that is completely unmatched. I'm just going to switch over to an existing project that I'm already working on for a while now and try to show you how that project looks like in Cursor. So Cursor is pretty intimidating, right? When you first see it like this, it does completely looks different than all of the other vibe coding tools. But it doesn't have to be that intimidating, right? You can still load your app in a simple browser and run commands like npm run them to launch your app and basically be able to see it in the browser and see what you're building. You can obviously access all the files, the code, everything that you would need to on this side of the panel. So in general, it's a tool that allows you full access to the code base, gives you a terminal to run commands, a tool that has an agent itself that can reference specific files and focus entirely on them. The agent itself that has 3 different modes and has gazillion different models. I just limited myself to these, but you can obviously go to your settings and check different models, set different rules for the behavior, add your own models and tokens, add MCPs. Again, I talked about it, like connection with Supabase, connection with Magic. Like, those would be impossible to connect on my own. And I just did it very, very easily, very simply.
with a couple of commands that I'm supposed to run, and that's it. Now I have full project managed Supabase support. In general, Cursor can be intimidating from a couple of perspectives for newcomers. Number one, the way you push and pull commits. All this is done automatically by all the other apps. You connect them to GitHub, and then everything gets published to your main branch automatically. That is not the case in Cursor. If I make a change, I will need to use some of these commands to fetch, pull, and push, and refresh, and sync, and commit. And that may seem intimidating. That may seem like an overkill. But when you sort of graduate the college of working in Cursor, you just realize that this is the way to do things, actually. Not to mention the planning, the task-based approach that it does, way better than anybody else. And not to mention, again, going back to the rules, again, if we go back to the files and we look at the Cursor rules, right? Just a lot of rules that it's making it work, empowering its workload, memory, a lot of things that other apps you can't even think about using them in a way that you can use Cursor. So that's what makes it so dominant in these particular fields. The agent is super fast, super good. You can switch any language. You get priority access to all the newest LLMs always, as soon as they come out. Deployment, obviously, since it's on GitHub, you can deploy anywhere. So again, very flexible. On the visual, 4 out of 5, simply because you can plug in 21st Dev as an MCP and build your own custom-made designs. Like if you never used First Dev, it's this big library of components that you can just take. But one of the problems with other tools is that they can only copy what they have here. When you have the MCP built, though, the way I do, inside of it, you can use it to create components from scratch, right? And that is a big deal. That is a huge deal for people that want more custom design options for their project. So that is what makes this particular app super unique. Now, another thing that is not making it look good, and it's also a pretty unique thing, is that it absolutely sucks at two things: first shot prompt support and support for newcomers. Let me just show you how Cursor looks like when you first load it. This. And what I mean, as a new person, never anything, never built anything, where do I open a project from? This local storage, whatever, cloning repo. I don't even know what a repo is. I think it's safe to assume that a lot of people don't even have a GitHub account at this point. So, you know what I mean? Like, it's just a problematic state. Now, because I know a little bit about it, obviously, I know where to start, but I'm just going to show you how terrible the starting of it is. Instead of like going to the file and building a new text file or whatever, I'm just going to do what I'm set out to do, and that is trigger the agent. So right next to the settings wheel, there's this AI panel, there's the terminal panel, and there's this side panel for other edits. So what I'm here to do and to show you is the first shot prompt, right? So let's do that right now. Let's go over to my GPT lovable base prompt, as we always do, dynamic slide generation. That is the project that we've always been doing so far. I'm just going to take it and copy it and then basically head over and let's see what I get. And I'm telling you, I'm not going to get a whole lot. I already know that much about this too. So, it's just going to try and find stuff. And again, it's a great to-do tool to use, which is clearly demonstrated by its capability over here when it comes to like being able to access the existing code base and being able to access what you have present. But when you have nothing present, then it's a bit problematic, right? That is why, as you will see, I will grade it as 1, because this is definitely not the way a project should be started by a no-code person. Now, when you do have a project started like I do here, I mean, it's a completely different story. Everything's mapped out. Your chats make sense. Everything makes sense. Code edits, commits, the way you merge different versions. Once you start using it, you're going to see what I mean. But the workflow of working with Cursor is definitely not the same as is it with other tools, right? As you can see, it's telling me it can't find any files. It doesn't understand. I'm just trying to build it from scratch. So I'm just going to say to it, hey, I just want you to build the whole project from scratch from the very beginning. There are no files. There's nothing available. You're supposed to build this from the ground up. So we're already on the second prompt, and it's already searching again. Okay, confirm no files for folder, initialize a new project. Like there's a lot of planning, which I love. I'm a big fan of, as everybody that watched my video knows. But I do want to see it actually do something, right? And now it's kind of like telling me what it's gonna do and initialize the project. And now already we have a problem. Like, would you like to use? I don't know any of this, right? I know I'm supposed to use npm. The point is that you shouldn't know all of this stuff, right? So now it's doing it on its own. I have no idea what's going on. Like I'm already stuck at this point. If I'm a newcomer, if I'm somebody that never built anything, it's never ever gonna be able to be comfortable building something with it. Now, if you again have a full project takeover, it's a completely different story, which is why this is how this tool should be used, right? So again, if we go back to the scoring first shot prompt, definitely not a fan of it. Not a fan of it. Everything else we already kind of discussed. MCP on the visual and design stuff. Great at debugging. The agent's very reliable. You can deploy from anywhere. The code's fully accessible for you. MCPs for all sorts of APIs and backend support. Obviously, another complete polarity here is between pricing and support for newcomers. Pricing is extremely fair. I've never hit any of the limits. I was always a plan when I entered the pay, had never ever had any problems. Just I can build. I don't even know what the limits are. So super fair price. Support for newcomers, pretty abysmal. No tool tips, no guidelines, nothing to guide you towards starting your project, how to import, where to import to from, the fact that you need Git on your computer, the NPMs. Why would you even need to know all of that, right? I think that's a big gap that if they were to fill, they would be the absolute leader. So for right now, they are a very strong number two in my book. This is nobody beats them as far as it comes to building stability, code pushing, tooling, following a plan, just building a very structured product. Cursor is your go-to. Nobody can match their MCP support and LLM variety. Pricing is super fair. First shot prompt, on the other hand, very bad experience. Like I don't think anything's gonna come out of this, by the way. Like I've done this a couple of times and it's just like it's running a terminal command, but I don't see anything being ran. Um, no problems, no output, nothing's going on really. So like I don't even know if I'm ever gonna do anything. And again, that really diminishes the and really makes the user experience for a newcomer not being great. But once you start using it, you will never ever look back. Once you pull in a project from Lovable, which is what we're going to be showing you in our future AI bootcamp, you will never ever look back. This is the end of the first part of the series. I'm going to be continuing to review these tools. I've reviewed the top 5, the ones that I feel are currently in the top 5. I bet that in the second section of another 5 tools that I come in, one of them will definitely surpass one of the top 5s because everybody in this space is just keeps evolving, keep getting better at it. So subscribe to my channel and then I may see you next week in those videos. I may not. I got a lot of projects to run, got a lot of stuff to do. So I don't know. But I will tell you something for sure. If you want to learn how to vibe code, you just can check out the link in the description. We start our boot camps to learn how to use Lovable every week. And you're going to need to know how to use Lovable so that you can export your project and then import it in Cursor. And we're going to roll out a curriculum and a boot camp for building in Cursor soon as well. Until I see you next time, guys, keep vibing.